Emma sat alone, a novel open in her hands. She had always found solace in the pages of a good book, especially on rainy days like this. Rain pattered against the window of the cozy coffee shop, creating a soothing rhythm that matched the quiet ambience inside. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, mingling with the scent of rain and creating a comforting atmosphere. She glanced up as the bell above the door jingled, announcing a newcomer. It was a small sound, but it always drew her attention. Jack hesitated at the entrance, his gaze scanning the room. He seemed to be searching for something, or perhaps someone. He looked a little lost, a little uncertain, as if he wasn't sure if he should stay or leave. Their eyes met briefly, and Emma quickly returned her attention to her book, her cheeks warming. She felt a strange flutter in her chest. He approached the counter, his back to her. She couldn't help but notice the way he carried himself, with a mix of confidence and hesitation. He was tall, with broad shoulders that seemed to fill the small space of the coffee shop. Emma found herself stealing another glance, curious about this stranger who had disrupted her quiet afternoon. She quickly averted her eyes when he turned his head, pretending to be engrossed in her novel. Her heart raced, and she wondered if he had noticed her staring. Jack seemed to be debating his next move. He stood there for a moment, looking thoughtful, as if he was trying to make a decision. He ran a hand through his hair, a sigh escaping his lips. It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes about his state of mind. Emma watched as the barista, a friendly woman with bright pink hair, noticed his hesitation. She smiled warmly at him, ready to take his order and perhaps offer a bit of comfort. The barista leaned forward, a knowing smile on her face. She had seen many customers come and go, each with their own stories and struggles. Today, she sensed something different in the air.
First time here?
Jack nodded, a slight blush creeping up his neck. He felt a bit out of place, but the barista's friendly demeanor was comforting. He mumbled something about the rain and needing a caffeine fix. The weather had been gloomy, matching his mood, and he hoped a good cup of coffee might lift his spirits.
Well, you've come to the right place. What can I get for you? Our coffee is known to brighten even the darkest days.
She rattled off a list of specials, her enthusiasm contagious. Each drink sounded more delicious than the last, and Jack found himself getting excited about his choice. Jack finally managed a small smile. The barista's energy was infectious, and he felt a bit of his anxiety melt away.
I'll have a cappuccino, please. He decided on a classic, something familiar and comforting.
He replied, his voice regaining some of its confidence. The simple act of ordering coffee felt like a small victory. As he waited, his gaze swept the room again, landing on Emma once more. The cafe was bustling, but she stood out to him. This time, their eyes met and lingered. There was a connection, a spark that neither could deny. Emma felt her heart skip a beat. She hadn't expected to see Jack here, and the surprise was a pleasant one. Jack offered her a tentative smile, and something about his shy demeanor drew her in. It was a moment of unspoken understanding, a shared history that brought them closer. Gathering his courage, Jack picked up his cappuccino and headed towards Emma's table.
Excuse me, is this seat taken?
Emma, surprised but intrigued, shook her head.
Please have a seat.
She replied, closing her book. He introduced himself, and she learned his name was Jack. He, in turn, discovered she was an avid reader, just like him. Their conversation flowed easily, meandering from their shared love of books to their favorite authors. They discovered a shared love for classic literature, particularly Jane Austen. Laughter filled the space between them, erasing any lingering awkwardness. Hours melted away as they lost themselves in conversation. They talked about their dreams, their aspirations, their fears.
I found myself drawn to his kind eyes and gentle humor.
And I was captivated by her intelligence and quick wit.
The rain outside had stopped, and the sun was beginning to set, casting a warm glow over the coffee shop. Still, neither of them made a move to leave. They were content in their own little world, oblivious to the passage of time.
A comfortable silence fell between us, but it was not an uncomfortable silence.
It was the kind of silence that speaks volumes, a silence that says, I'm enjoying your company even when you're not speaking. Finally, with a sigh, Jack glanced at his watch. The hands of time seemed to move faster when he was with her, and now they were signaling the end of their delightful conversation.
I should probably let you get back to your book. It's getting late, and I don't want to keep you any longer.
He said, a hint of reluctance in his voice. It was clear that he didn't really want to leave, but he respected her time. Emma felt a pang of disappointment. She wasn't ready for their conversation to end. She had enjoyed every moment of their exchange, feeling a connection she hadn't felt in a long time.
As much as I love Jane Austen, I think I've had enough reading for one day. Your company has been a refreshing change.
She realized she meant it. His company had been far more engaging than any fictional character. The stories they shared, the laughter, and the genuine connection had made her day. They stood up, gathering their belongings. The air was filled with a mix of anticipation and reluctance, as if both were hoping this wouldn't be their last meeting.
It was really nice meeting you, Emma. I had a wonderful time. I hope to see you again sometime. Maybe we can continue our conversation over another cup of coffee.
He handed her a napkin with his number scribbled on it. It was a simple gesture, but it carried the weight of potential and promise.
I'd like that, she said, her voice filled with sincerity and a touch of excitement.
She replied, her heart filled with a hope she hadn't felt in a long time. It was a feeling of new beginnings, of possibilities that lay ahead. As she watched him walk away, she couldn't help but smile. The future seemed a little brighter, a little more promising. Maybe, just maybe, this chance encounter at the coffee shop was the start of something special. A new chapter in her life filled with hope and unexpected joy.